November 1949. A man in marine dress blues walked into the Sands of Iwo Jima premiere and bought his own ticket. He sat alone in the back row watching John Wayne play a war he actually fought. What happened in the lobby after the film would haunt both men for the rest of their lives. Here is the story. Grauman's Chinese Theater, Hollywood, November 17, 1949. Red carpet unfurls down the sidewalk. Klieg lights sweep across the night sky, cutting through the smog and stars. Limousines pull up one after another, doors opening to reveal tuxedos and evening gowns, diamonds catching the flashbulbs. Sands of Iwo Jima premiere. Republic Pictures' biggest film of the year. Photographers shout names. "Over here, Mr. Wayne!" Flashbulbs pop like distant artillery. Studio executives shake hands and smoke cigars. Politicians pose for photos. This is Hollywood glamour at its peak. Inside the theater, 800 seats fill with the powerful and famous. Front rows reserved for studio heads and stars. Middle rows for press and politicians. Back rows for whoever could afford a ticket. In the very last row, right side, sits Gunnery Sergeant Harold Schultz, 24 years old, Marine Corps dress blues. The uniform is immaculate, creases sharp enough to cut, brass polished to mirror shine, ribbons arranged in perfect rows across his chest. Purple Heart, Silver Star, Presidential Unit Citation. He sits alone, hands resting on his knees, back straight, eyes forward. Nobody invited him. He bought his own ticket this morning. $12, 2 weeks' wages from his job at the warehouse. The lights dim, the curtain rises, the screen flickers to life. John Wayne appears. Sergeant John Stryker, tough Marine sergeant training raw recruits. His voice is hard, his face harder. "You're not in Kansas anymore, boys." Harold watches without moving. His face gives nothing away. On screen, boot camp. Sergeant Stryker breaks down the young recruits, yelling in their faces, pushing them past their limits. Some cry, some quit, some become Marines. Harold's jaw muscle flexes once. That's all. The training sequences give way to combat. Marines hit a beach. Explosions throw sand and bodies into the air. Machine gun fire stitches across the frame. Men scream, men fall, men die. Harold's hands grip his knees, knuckles white. But his face stays stone. Around him, 800 people watch. Some eat popcorn. Some whisper to their dates. Some check their watches. It's a movie. Just a movie. But Harold's breathing has changed. Shallow, controlled, like he's counting each breath. On screen, the Marines fight their way inland. They dig foxholes. They wait. They die. One by one. Harold's eyes don't blink, don't look away. Then the mountain appears, Mount Suribachi. Dark volcanic rock rising from the black sand beach. Marines begin the climb. Japanese soldiers fire from caves. Grenades explode. More men fall. The Marines reach the summit. They carry a flag, an American flag. Harold stops breathing entirely. On screen, 6 Marines raise that flag. Strain shows on their faces. The pole goes up. The flag catches the wind. The moment freezes, the most famous photograph of the war. Harold's eyes fill with water. He blinks once. The water stays. The movie continues. Sergeant Stryker fights through the island. He jokes with his men. He saves them. He leads them. Then, walking across open ground, a sniper's bullet finds him. He falls. His hand clutches a photograph, his son, the boy he left behind. One tear runs down Harold's cheek. He doesn't wipe it away. The screen shows Stryker dying. His men gather around. They're crying. Harold remembers this, not from the movie, from real life. Different man, different day, same island. Sergeant Malone. Real sergeant, real death, real tears. The credits roll. The lights come up. Around Harold, 800 people stand and applaud. "Wonderful film! Wayne was magnificent!" They smile and laugh and discuss where they'll have dinner. Harold sits. Can't move. Can't stand. His hands are still gripping his knees. After 2 minutes, he forces himself to rise. He needs to leave. Needs air. Needs to get away from people who watched his war like it was entertainment. He starts walking toward the exit, keeping his head down, trying to blend into the crowd despite the uniform that makes him stand out like a beacon. The lobby is chaos. Celebrities signing autographs, photographers angling for shots, studio executives congratulating each other on another hit. Everyone talking at once. Harold pushes through, heading for the doors, for the street, for anywhere else. Then a voice cuts through the noise. "Excuse me, Marine." Harold stops. He knows that voice, heard it for 2 hours on screen. He turns. John Wayne stands 3 feet away, 6'4" in a tailored tuxedo, cigarette in hand, movie star face everyone in America recognizes. Harold goes to attention without thinking, military reflex. "Sir." Wayne's eyes drop to Harold's chest, to the ribbons. Purple Heart, Silver Star, Pacific Theater ribbon, campaign stars. Wayne's voice changes, quieter. "Did you serve at Iwo Jima?" "Yes, sir." Something shifts in Wayne's face. The movie star mask cracks. What's underneath looks older, more tired. "I need to ask you something." Wayne pauses. "In the film, playing Sergeant Stryker, did I dishonor your service?" Harold stares at him. This man, this actor who made millions pretending to be a Marine, is asking a real Marine if he got it right. Most actors wouldn't care. Most actors would assume they nailed the role, would expect praise and gratitude. Most actors would be signing autographs right now, not talking to an enlisted man in the back of the lobby. Wayne looks genuinely worried, like the answer matters more than box office receipts. Harold takes a breath. His voice stays level, controlled, the way Marines are trained to speak. "Sir, you made Sergeant Stryker look like a hero." Wayne nods slowly, waiting. "He was a hero. My sergeant was too. But Hollywood usually makes us look like idiots. Makes war look like a John Wayne movie. Excuse me, sir. Makes Marines look like cartoon characters who yell "oorah" and never bleed." Harold's voice stays flat, but the words cut. "You didn't do that. You showed us as men, flawed men, scared men, men who cracked jokes to keep from crying, men who died holding pictures of their families." His voice catches for just a second. "That's real. That's what it was like." Wayne's shoulders drop slightly. Relief, maybe. Or something heavier. "Thank you, Marine. That means more than—" "I'm not finished, sir." Wayne goes quiet. Harold's hands clench into fists at his sides. "I didn't want to come tonight. Didn't want to watch Hollywood turn Iwo Jima into entertainment. Didn't want to sit in a theater with people eating popcorn while my friends died on screen." Wayne takes it. Doesn't interrupt, doesn't defend himself. "But you did something I didn't expect." Harold's voice drops lower. "You showed Sergeant Stryker die scared. Showed him clutching that photograph of his son. Showed him being human in his last seconds." Harold's eyes fill again. He doesn't hide it this time. "My sergeant died that way. His name was Thomas Malone. He had a daughter, 8 years old. He carried her picture in his helmet. When he got shot, he pulled it out. Died holding it." Harold's voice breaks. He pushes through it. "Nobody knows that. I never told anyone. But you showed it somehow. You knew that's what it's really like." The lobby noise fades. 40 people have stopped talking, stopped moving, watching this Marine and this actor stand 3 feet apart. Wayne's voice comes out rough. "I didn't serve." Harold blinks. "Sir?" "I didn't serve. I should have. I had deferments, 4 kids, age 34 when Pearl Harbor hit, studio contracts that kept me stateside." Wayne's jaw tightens. "Those are reasons, not excuses. I watched men like you go fight while I stayed home and made movies." He looks Harold in the eye. "I'll regret that until I die. Every military film I make is me trying to honor men like you, trying to make up for not being there." His voice drops to almost a whisper. "Did I succeed? Tonight, in this film, did I honor you?" Harold studies Wayne's face, sees real guilt there, carved into the lines around his eyes. 8 years of carrying something heavy. Then Harold does something he hasn't done since February 23, 1945. Something he swore he'd never do for anyone who wasn't there, who didn't earn it, who didn't bleed for it. He salutes John Wayne. Sharp, crisp, perfect. Right hand to right eyebrow, fingers together, elbow at 90 degrees. A Marine salute to a superior officer. Wayne freezes. His eyes go wide. He's not military, doesn't have the right to receive this. But muscle memory from weeks of film training takes over. His hand comes up, returns the salute. His form is perfect. John Ford drilled him for hours to get it right. They hold it. 3 seconds, 5 seconds, an eternity in a crowded lobby. Harold drops his hand first. "You did, sir. Sergeant Stryker reminded me why I served, why it mattered, why Sergeant Malone and all the others died for something real, not just dirt and rocks." His voice firms. "The country needs to remember that. We need movies that tell the truth, not just sell tickets. You told the truth tonight." Wayne's eyes fill. He doesn't hide it, doesn't look away. "Thank you, Marine." His voice is barely audible. "That means more than any award they could ever give me." Harold nods once, sharp, military. Then he turns and walks toward the exit. Wayne watches him go. Doesn't move. Can't move. 42 people in that lobby witnessed it. A real Iwo Jima Marine, ribbons on his chest, scars on his soul, saluted John Wayne. They'll tell this story for decades. Some will get the details wrong, some will embellish it, but they'll all remember the core truth. A real Marine told John Wayne he got it right. And for an actor who carried 8 years of guilt, that validation was worth more than 100 Oscars. 2 weeks pass. Late November. Wayne is at Republic Pictures, reviewing scripts for his next film. His assistant brings the mail, studio correspondence, fan letters, a few bills. One envelope stands out. Military return address, Camp Pendleton, California. Wayne opens it. The handwriting is precise, controlled. He recognizes it from the theater program Harold signed. "Mr. Wayne, there's something I need to tell you. I wasn't just at Iwo Jima. I was one of the 6 men who raised the flag on Mount Suribachi. The famous photograph. That was me. I've never told anyone outside my unit. When I came home, I stayed quiet, tried to forget, tried to move on. The other 5 men, 3 died on the island, 2 came home and did interviews and war bond tours. I didn't want that. I wanted to disappear. But watching Sands of Iwo Jima, something broke open. My sergeant's name was Thomas Malone. He died 3 days after we raised that flag. Japanese sniper, just like in your movie. I was there when it happened. He pulled out that picture of his daughter. I took it from his hands after, mailed it to his wife. Never told her how he died, just said it was quick. I've carried guilt for 4 years. Why did I survive? Why him and not me? Why any of them and not me? Your film showed me something. Showed Sergeant Stryker dying for his men. Showed him being scared, being human, missing his son. That's real. That's every Marine who didn't come home. You didn't serve, but you honored them better than most veterans could. You showed the truth, the fear, the sacrifice, the cost. Thank you for that. Semper Fi, Gunnery Sergeant Harold Schultz, USMC. Wayne reads the letter 3 times. On the 3rd reading, he has to stop and wipe his eyes. He picks up his phone, calls his assistant. "I need you to find someone for me. Harold Schultz, Marine. He's stationed at Camp Pendleton. Get me his address." 3 days later, Wayne drives south. 2 hours down the coast to Camp Pendleton, shows his ID at the main gate. The young Marine on guard duty does a double take. "Mr. Wayne? Sir, can I help you?" "I'm here to see Gunnery Sergeant Harold Schultz." "He's training recruits right now, sir. Rifle range." "I'll wait." Wayne parks his car and walks to the rifle range, stays back, out of the way, watches. Harold is teaching 20 young Marines, fresh recruits, barely 18, still soft around the edges. Harold moves among them, checking stances, adjusting grips, offering corrections in a firm but patient voice. Wayne watches for an hour, sees Harold work. Firm but not cruel, demanding but not demeaning, just like Stryker, but real. Training ends. Harold dismisses the recruits. They file off to their barracks. Harold turns to collect his equipment and sees Wayne standing there. His eyes widen. "Mr. Wayne? Got your letter." "Sir, I didn't expect you to." "Why didn't you tell me?" Wayne walks closer. "At the premiere, that you raised the flag." Harold's jaw tightens. "Because it's not about me, sir. It's about the men who didn't come home. The flag was for them." Wayne nods slowly. "Your sergeant, Thomas Malone." "Yes, sir." "Tell me about him." They sit on a weathered bench overlooking the rifle range. For 90 minutes, Harold talks. About Malone. Tough but fair, funny but serious, a father who missed his daughter every single day. About Iwo Jima, the black sand that got into everything, the sulfur smell that made you gag, the sound of bullets hitting flesh. About the flag, 6 men, 1 pole, 30 seconds that turned into forever. About the guilt. Why me? Why not them? Why do I get to keep living? Wayne listens, doesn't interrupt, doesn't offer Hollywood wisdom or empty platitudes, just listens. The way you listen when someone is handing you something precious and fragile. When Harold finishes, they sit in silence for several minutes. The sun is setting, painting the California hills orange and purple. Finally, Harold asks, "Why did you come here, Mr. Wayne?" Wayne stands, looks out at the rifle range where tomorrow 20 more young men will learn to kill. "Because you gave me something at that premiere. You told me I got it right, that I honored your sergeant." He turns to face Harold. "I needed you to know something in return. I didn't just make a movie. I tried to tell the truth. Your truth. Sergeant Malone's truth. Every Marine's truth." His voice drops. "And I need you to know that I'm carrying him with me now. Thomas Malone, his name, his daughter, his sacrifice. You're not carrying that guilt alone anymore." Harold's face crumbles. 4 years of holding it together. 4 years of keeping it locked down. 4 years of being strong. It breaks. He puts his face in his hands and sobs, deep, wrenching sounds that come from somewhere primal. Wayne sits back down, puts his hand on Harold's shoulder, says nothing, just sits there while this young man, this hero, this warrior, this Marine who raised a flag and lost a father figure and came home to silence, finally lets it out. 20 minutes pass. Harold finally quiets, wipes his eyes, straightens up. "Thank you, sir." "You don't have to thank me." "Yes, I do." Harold looks at him. Nobody's asked about Sergeant Malone. Nobody's asked about any of them. People ask about the flag, about the photo, about was it heavy, was it hard, were you scared? Nobody asks about the men. His voice strengthens. "You asked, and you told his story. That matters more than you know. Have you ever had someone help carry a burden you thought you had to bear alone? That's what brotherhood really means." Sands of Iwo Jima becomes the highest-grossing film of 1950, $31 million at the box office. Wayne receives an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. He loses to Broderick Crawford for All the King's Men. But Wayne doesn't care about the Oscar. He has something more valuable in his desk drawer, Harold Schultz's letter, and a photograph Harold mailed him. 6 Marines raising a flag on a mountain. Harold circled one of them in pencil. "Me," he wrote on the back. Years pass. Wayne makes more war films. Flying Leathernecks in 1951, The Longest Day in 1962, The Green Berets in 1968. Every time he steps onto a set in uniform, he thinks about Harold, about getting it right, about honoring the real men. Harold stays quiet about the flag raising, never seeks publicity, never does interviews, never claims the glory. He trains Marines at Camp Pendleton for 25 years. Thousands of young men pass through his hands. He teaches them to shoot, to move, to think, to survive. He tells them about Sergeant Malone sometimes, about doing your job and taking care of your men and dying for something that matters. They stay in touch, Wayne and Harold. Letters mostly, phone calls occasionally. Not friends exactly. The gap between Hollywood and the Corps is too wide for that. But connected, bonded by guilt and respect and a shared commitment to honoring the dead. When Wayne dies in June 1979, Harold gets the call from Wayne's daughter. He's retired by then, living in a small house in Oceanside, working at a hardware store. He drives to the funeral, wears his dress blues one more time, same uniform from the premiere 30 years earlier. Still fits. The ribbons are faded now. He sits in the back during the service, listens to the speeches about Wayne's career, his films, his impact on American culture. All true, all important. But Harold knows a different truth. Knows that Wayne carried guilt for not serving. Knows that Wayne spent 40 years trying to make up for it by honoring those who did. Knows that Wayne succeeded in ways Hollywood will never understand. At the end, as people file out, Harold approaches the casket, stands at attention, salutes one final time, holds it for 30 seconds. Then he speaks, quiet enough that only the honor guard hears him. "You honored them, Duke. You honored Sergeant Malone. You honored all of us who came home carrying the dead. Thank you for that." He drops the salute, walks away. 16 years later, Harold Schultz dies, September 1995. Lung cancer, age 70. His family gathers at his bedside in the VA hospital. His wife of 47 years, 3 children, 7 grandchildren. His oldest son asks him, "Dad, tell us about Iwo Jima, about the flag. You never talked about it." Harold has been silent for 50 years, never told the stories, never claimed the glory, never sought recognition. But now, with hours left, he talks. He tells them about Mount Suribachi, about the climb, about the 6 men and the pole and the wind that nearly knocked them over, about Sergeant Malone dying 3 days later, about carrying guilt for 50 years. Then he tells them about John Wayne, about the premiere, about the salute, about Camp Pendleton and the letter and the decades of respect. "Most of Hollywood treats war like a game," Harold says, his voice thin but steady. "Treats soldiers like action figures. But John Wayne respected us, honored us, showed the truth even though he never served." He pauses, gathers strength. That matters, still matters. Having someone tell your truth, having someone get it right. That's worth more than any medal they give you. He looks at his children and grandchildren gathered around the bed. Remember that. When you tell a story, any story, get it right. Honor the people who lived it. That's what Duke did. That's why I saluted him. 3 hours later, Harold dies. His family is with him. His last words are, "Tell Sergeant Malone I'm coming." His obituary mentions military service, Purple Heart, Silver Star, Pacific Theater. It mentions possible participation in the Iwo Jima flag raising, though it notes this was never confirmed during his lifetime. In 2016, historians using computer analysis of the famous photograph confirm what Harold never claimed. He was definitely one of the 6 men. His family always knew. He'd told them at the end. But Harold never wanted the recognition, never wanted the fame. He just wanted someone to remember Sergeant Malone, someone to tell the truth. John Wayne did that. In 1949, in a 2-hour movie that most critics dismissed as propaganda, and in a Hollywood lobby when he asked a real Marine if he got it right. That question, that humility, that vulnerability, meant more to Harold than any medal or monument. It meant someone cared about the truth, someone honored the dead, someone got it right. Today, the National Museum of the Marine Corps displays Harold Schultz's dress uniform. In the breast pocket, folded carefully, is a piece of paper. Wayne's autograph from the 1949 premiere, signed, "To Gunnery Sergeant Harold Schultz, who taught me what real courage looks like, John Wayne." On the back, in Harold's precise handwriting, "The man who honored Sergeant Malone, November 17, 1949. That's how Harold remembered Wayne. Not as a movie star, not as an icon, as the man who told his sergeant's story. The man who asked if he got it right. The man who earned a Marine's salute. What's something you did that nobody recognized, but one person understood its true value? That recognition matters more than fame, doesn't it? And unfortunately, they don't make men like John Wayne anymore.